back, and we 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 and we back, and we back. Yeah. Hey.
Thinking Out Loud podcast. It's your boy J Lip. I am J Lip. TOLPcast.com. Thinking Out Loud. You already know what this is. You know who I am. You know where we be. In the building tonight, I got my beautiful queen, Mrs.LIP. Mrs.LIP, how you feeling?
Oh, blessed and highly favored as always.
That's a blessing. I'm feeling blessed and highly favored and highly, how you say, fortunate to be here with you this evening. I know we got a lot of shit to get through, and we're going to get through it. But first, I want you to make sure that you shout out what's going on for you tonight.
Tonight, inside of my Facebook group, TLYC Makers, I'm doing Ask Me Anything. So, anything related to crafts, running a business, social media management, marketing, anything like that. I'm answering all the questions tonight at 7 p.m. 8, 7. Yep, 7.
Wait, which one? 7, 8.
7 o'clock.
All right, so 7, 8, one of the two times. We're going
7.
live. 7, we're going live on Instagram. Is it
No,
Facebook?
no,
No,
it's
no,
not.
it's
It's
Facebook
Facebook.
now.
It's Facebook
Do
now.
you feel a way about the fact that you've just kind of left your Instagram followers behind in the dust?
That's not what happened at all.
What
I still
happened?
post on Instagram. I did an Instagram live this past weekend. I have not abandoned my Instagram followers. It's just a more intimate group within my Facebook group. That's all.
Let me change that. I had to get all these beautiful cornrows in the image. Oh, ooh, the boy looking clean. But
Oh my god.
regardless, speaking of cornrows, Megan Kelly. So let's jump straight to the shit. So you know what? If we're gonna segment the shit, let's start with the bullshit. So we're gonna do the beginning with the bullshit. The beginning with the bullshit for me right now is I have a question. How do
Mm.
you feel about, well, first off, rest in peace to anybody that was affected by the massacre and by the terrorism that occurred against those who are followers of Judaism who were in a synagogue and was recently targeted by a madman, by a terrorist, by a
Mm.
domestic terrorist. Rest in peace and prayers to the family for the recovery and for the emotional, I want to say, overcoming of that anger and that hate that it brings to see
Yeah.
your loved ones lost in that way.
Mm.
We heard a lot of stories about this, and I want to make sure we get the bullshit out the way first. So bullshit out the way. What do you think about it? What do you think about what happened? Real quick.
I think it's insanely sad. I think it's about more than just, lives were lost in a synagogue. I think thinking about it more globally, and how it affects us as people and especially as Americans. If anything, we are taught as Americans that we should feel safe in places of worship, that we can worship freely and should feel safe in the places where we do those things. And the fact that, it's becoming a trend that the safe places
Yeah.
that we're taught that, you can learn in or you can, worship in, just don't feel safe anymore. And every time this topic gets brought up, I can't help but think about the soundbite that I heard of our darling president, who had his 2 cents and basically said if there were armed guards at this place of worship, the outcome would have been different. And just the anger and frustration that I feel that the situation even happened is honestly overshadowed by the insensitivity and the pure ignorance that our commander in chief shows in the face of such a tragedy. It's a sad situation all around, and I feel no relief, or any solace in his words. And I feel like that's part of his job to kind of make us feel a little bit better about the situation, and he failed miserably.
And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the fact that when Dylan Roof went in and killed all of those black people at that Southern Black church, and there weren't too many words that were said about how wrong Dylan Roof was, the fact that he made it out alive, the fact that he was taken to get a fucking burger and treated basically like an alleged criminal.
Mm-hmm.
When it's black people who do crimes, I oftentimes feel like it's not alleged, it's already judged that we are
Yeah.
guilty. And
Yeah.
so there is an issue there that we will discuss and touch on a different episode. But
Mm-hmm.
it also reminded me of the fact that at the end of the day, if you look at the politicizing of the media, Trump is almost saying you should have armed guards on the pro gun side of politics,
Mm-hmm.
because there's no church that I go to personally where
Yeah.
I'd want somebody to be walking around with AKs and
And
ARs
never
and
that I've seen. It's not a policy of places of worship to guard their doors with guns. Like, if
ever.
anything, every place of worship I go to, their doors are unlocked. Their people are greeting you. They're looking forward to people coming in to visit and to worship with them. And to suggest that you should protect your place of worship with armed guards, I think it's just more fuel to the fire of people who take issue with religion in general. It's That's not meant to be the perception of where you go to worship. I would not be, I would not feel welcome in a church where, as a member, I thought we needed to have armed guards. Honestly, I probably just wouldn't even go.
Me too, babe. I think that if you feel like you need to have armed guards, that's an indicator that you don't need to be there. It's the same thing that I told you about one of my homies who said, don't worry about the fact that you may feel uncomfortable going to this party in the hood because I'm strapped. And my man said,
Not
I
gonna go.
don't want to go to a
No,
party where you have to be strapped. Like,
like,
why
we're
the
going to
fuck?
have fun. Why do you shouldn't be in a place where you should feel like you need to personally protect yourself with a firearm. Like, come on.
Exactly. Now, we just mentioned one part of the politicizing of the issue. Now, you have other issues that are going on that I feel like are tearing us apart as far as what we focus on as individuals, as pawns in this chess, not checkers game. The
Mm-hmm.
other one is the issue going on with the diocese, with the Catholic Church. And you got these 200 some odd individuals who are either being indicted on willful ignorance or active participation in child abuse, child sexual misconduct, to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I feel like this is another realm of distraction for us because we just talked about the guns, right? We went from a massacre and we have a president who's telling us, well, you should have had guns. It's almost like telling a school shooting, well, if the niggas had guns, y'all would have been straight.
Right. Or
But
if the teachers had guns or whatever, the janitor had guns, if the lunch lady had guns, like, oh God, where's
you
the
know
stop?
what I didn't think about and I just thought about right now? What happens though to those people who are mentally unstable who
The
have
people who
guns
should
and
not
get
have
upset?
guns.
Right,
All the
right.
people who
What
should
the
not
fuck
have
happens?
guns.
You spit on the wrong person, or you step on the wrong shoe, or you slap the wrong bully. If everybody has a gun, it's a fucking shootout.
Or
Because
you just get that one person who's like so gung ho to have a gun in a school and makes a mistake. Like, so many things can go wrong with that scenario. Just everybody walking around with a gun is not a solution to the gun problem.
and I
It's
don't want to get stuck on that. I agree with what you're saying. We're gonna get to it. So we got the distraction with the guns. We got the distraction going on with the church. So that's a religion issue, right? And we know
yeah,
that there's no separation of church and state at this
not
point.
anymore.
There's not a separation. So now you have the Catholic Church under attack, or rather, you have the Catholic Church attacking the public, and we don't know what's what right now because it's all alleged. But there's still an issue when something is alleged. If R. Kelly is innocent, the nigga was still alleged. So to me, he guilty. And I'm standing by that because I seen the video. I done heard the songs. Age ain't nothing but a number. Marrying 16-year-olds when you damn near 40. Like, The nigga had issues, but
Yeah.
I digress, and I want to get back to the point of the distractions. And finally, the last distraction that I want to talk about for us with this podcast and this episode in particular is we went to talk about the guns, we went to talk about the religion, and
Hmm.
there's a third rail in this, and I'm trying to remember.
Are you thinking about Megan Kelly?
No, we gonna get to no. She gonna get
Ugh.
dragged. She about to get all the shade. She about to get so shady. The
So I
shade.
got a question for you though. When you're
Go ahead.
saying the distraction, what are these stories distracting us from?
Well, to me, so let's think about all the things that are happening within our government or what are happening within our society that we're not paying attention to at this point. Like that's a distraction to me. So I'm looking at all these 200 Catholic priests and diocese members, and I'm like, God damn, like y'all some sick fucks. And I'm thinking about that, but what I'm not thinking about is the fact that we got a vote coming up in 2 weeks.
Huge vote.
I'm
Huge
not
vote.
thinking about that. What I'm not thinking about is, oh shit, this motherfucking Trump talking about we need to have armed guards at a synagogue, church, fucking prayer rug, everything. So I'm being distracted, and I guess the third part of that, which is the distraction of ultimately the distraction of race, is the fact that you had situations occur recently where you had a man go in and kill, I think it was two young black individuals at a Kroger. And this was a story that I just found out about, but a man went in to a Kroger. I, something about the door being locked, he was upset. He went through it and he killed two young black men. So now you have
Why?
another because he was upset and because they were black. How
Oh,
many times does it have to be a situation where you can get killed being black and the question be why and the answer is because they were black? It's unfortunate to say, but it's the truth. And I feel like the truth is we're living in a society where you done seen the police get called on people at a barbecue, at a swimming pool, while they selling water in New York, while they smoking a Lucy cigarette, while they sitting in the passenger side of their car telling the officer I have a CCW. Like we done seen every fucking situation. So now I'm numb to it, and it's like it's because he was black, and that's what it was. So more information needs to be gathered on that for me to speak intelligibly. So we're going to jump straight into the focus of this topic tonight, which is good old blackface Megan Kelly. Megan Kelly, Megan Renee Kelly, right? Megan Naomi Renee Kelly had the nerve to come online, to come on live and on her show talk about the fact that in her day, less than 50 years ago, in her day, and it's 2018, so do the math. I know y'all can do the math.
not that. It's really not that long
Not
ago.
that long ago, she said in her day, wearing blackface wasn't a big deal. That was just what it was. Like you were in costume, you know what I'm saying? You were just portraying someone that you admired. You put on a black face to be this person that you respected. And it wasn't just Halloween, and that's the reason why it's so important for me to bring this up now, because Halloween is tomorrow. If you're hearing this now, Halloween might have been today or yesterday. Regardless, Halloween happened this year. Okay, it happens every year. With that being said, she tried to justify it and say, this is just what I'm used to. This is what it is. Then she had a panel of black individuals come through and educate her about the fact that blackface was not anything that was admirable. Blackface was disrespectful, was the
It was
minstrel show.
always satirical. It was always a slap in the face to
Yep.
black people. Blackface was never meant to entertain black people. It was always to make fun. It was to belittle, and um it was to negate us as a race. Always. It was never anything done out of respect, out of, anything that was meant to be entertaining for anyone besides white people.
So with that being said, and with Megan Kelly saying back in her day it was something different, what do you take from that? What do you take from that statement?
I take from it that Megyn Kelly grew up in a racist household, in a racist neighborhood, around a bunch of racist, all her racist friends, and everybody else who thinks that this is okay. Like, clearly, if she feels like back in my day, in like what, the 70s or something,
Basically,
that blackface was no big deal,
shit, you might as well
honey.
say 80s because at that point in the 70s she could have been a baby. So let's say 80s. Let's say 80. Let's say any. You know what? Fuck it. Let's say any time after the 1800s. Motherfucker, it's blackface. I
Right,
looked the shit up. They used to take fucking coal, grind it up, mixed it together, put it on their face, oversize the lipstick on their lips to protrude and show stereotypes of black people, give themselves white eyes. Like the shit was never something that was meant to say we appreciate your culture so much we
right,
want to replicate it.
right, right.
So with Megan Kelly doing this, then coming back and saying I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How many times do we have to see white people come back and say I'm sorry for some
And
fuck shit?
especially, like, I feel like she's had so much controversy around her already that of so many journalists and TV personalities, that I would hope that she would be a little bit more conscious, not even just of the issue, but of the optics of her specifically saying something like that
That's where
on
I disagree
herself.
with you. That's where I disagree with you because she was fired from Fox News. That should be a clear indicator that she has roots somewhere that is very deep, very dark, and honestly, her perspective is very skewed.
Yeah.
So the fact that she ended up getting her own show, congrats to you, girl. You did your thing. You hustled the system. You had great finesse game.
But don't shoot yourself in the foot. Like, you already had to
Oh
go through
no,
all
she
this
shot
to get.
herself in the
Yeah.
head because
Ugh.
what ended up happening is now she's getting a settlement similarly to Bill O'Reilly on Fox News when he said some fuck shit. I ain't even gonna look it up. All I know is that when white people that are in the media say something that is culturally insensitive to the
Mhm.
point to where it denigrates an entire group of people, there is a cost to that. There is a penalty.
Yeah.
Her penalty, unfortunately, in my opinion, is too much money. I read on the news that she's talking about getting a 60 million, 60, 59, 61, 60 plus or minus 1 million. She's getting a settlement because she has a contract with the network. That's a problem to me. Why are you getting rewarded for basically being able to leave your post because of what you did? Like it should be the penalty is you know what? Let me take it a step back. It should be written in the contracts that if you ostracize a certain number of your audience, then you lose any and all incentive that you had in this contract. That's how I feel. Let me
Look,
know
I'm
what you.
sure Megan had an amazing lawyer to help her draw up that contract just for situations like this. Because when you are on television every single day, spouting off whatever comes to your head, you are bound to say something idiotic eventually. And your lawyer is there to protect you from your own idiocy. And it
See, but
sounds
when
like
you say
Megan had.
that, but when you say that though, do you mean anybody or do you mean those
Oh, I'm
people
sure.
who are uninformed or unintelligible? Meaning, for Megan Kelly, she said that she didn't know. That's bullshit to me.
It is
There's no way
bullshit.
you
It
cannot
is.
know.
It is. You have spent too much time in the in the industry, in this world of being a talking head, for you to not know what you are and aren't supposed to say.
And I take it a step further. I don't really care what you do or don't say. I care more so about what you do or don't feel. She said what she felt, and I give her credit to that point because I
No,
give
I
anybody. No,
don't.
I do because at
I'm
the
just saying I don't. I
I
don't give
rather
Megyn
know.
Kelly any credit for feeling like a racist and then saying racist shit on TV. I
You
don't
know,
give her any credit for that.
babe. You know one thing I heard about the South because my father lives in the South. He lives in Mississippi. One thing I learned about the South and the stories that I've heard is the fact that where there's racism that's still prevalent today, at least you know who those individuals are. With Megyn Kelly, you don't. With the media, you don't. Until they show you or tell you through their words or through their media behavior, if they fail to maintain, I'm sure she had a teleprompter. I'm sure her teleprompter probably said just talk about the Halloween candy, how gross candy corn is, how to give the snack size Snickers, all that shit. But she chose to talk about the fact that blackface was normal in her day, and she didn't have to do that. And I know NBC, ABC, CBS, wherever channel she ended up at, other than Fox News, of course, who fired her ass, any other channel would have known not to put that on the teleprompter because that's not a
I'm sure
message.
it was not on the teleprompter. I'm
So,
sure there's got to be at least one person of color on that production team somewhere who who is conscious enough to know what does and doesn't need to go on this teleprompter. I'm sure she was far off script.
so with that being said, she freestyled. She took a L. She lost. I still feel like it's not fair that these people are still getting compensated to the degree. I mean, millions of dollars. I don't give a fuck if it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. You gets nothing, my nigga. You gets nothing. You fucked up. You fucked the brand up because I think is it was it ABC or NBC that she was having a show on.
Honestly, I have zero idea.
And honestly, I give
I
zero
don't care.
fucks. So moving forward, um, transitioning out of blackface. Yeah, I hope that you are happy with that, Megan Kelly, and I hope and I pray. I don't pray actually. God,
Don't.
I'm not saying I pray, but I strongly hope that she lives her truth and she wears her blackface this Halloween and just sees what happens. Just and not blackface in the suburbs and in the safer communities. Wear your blackface in the hood. Wear your blackface where there's other black faces. So we can all share in the excitement of seeing someone wear blackface. And I'm not promoting any type of violence. This
Yeah,
is a
you are.
disclaimer. This is a disclaimer.
Yeah, you are. That's
I'm just
exactly what you do.
saying,
And you know
where
what
if
you're
you
doing.
really believe what you believe, and you said it was all good in your day, and now it's 2018, wear your black face. Put your red lipstick on and your black oils, and walk around and put your Sambo outfit on. Do a shuck and jive down the street. Ease on down the road, and let's see what happens when that occurs in an environment of individuals who ancestral impact to from what you've done is so detrimental that a lesson will be learned. Halloween is coming. Let's celebrate. I don't celebrate Halloween. I'm gonna give out some candy, but I don't usually celebrate Halloween. I hope she does. Meanwhile, switch gears real quick. Final topic. We talked about blackface, but also I want to talk about cultural appropriation slash cultural misappropriation. First off, I don't know the difference between the two words. Could you explain that to me?
Say them again.
Cultural appropriation versus cultural misappropriation.
Uh,
And I guess the key words are appropriation versus misappropriation.
my only, I mean, without doing any further research, my only, they seem like they're ultimately the same thing. I think misappropriation probably involves intent. Like, you know, you're doing it wrong. Appropriation could be just like you did something that, you know, misidentifies another culture. I think misappropriation is more like, you know, what you did was wrong. You know what you did.
Okay, so let's take that. Let's take that vibe right there. When it comes to cultural appropriation or misappropriation, was the recent situation where Kylie Jenner was wearing a quote unquote wig, which I disagree with, but the mainstream media says that she was wearing a wig, a black wig, that was indicative of an afro. Do you believe that that's cultural misappropriation by a white woman of the black culture, or do you believe that that was cultural appropriation by a white woman of the black culture. And I ask that because we both know, and I think the world and anyone who's listening right now should know that the texture and the origin of the afro comes from the black woman.
Right, right. Um, I haven't seen the photo myself, but regardless, I will go out on the limb and say that this was true cultural misappropriation. That she was trying to be someone who she clearly is not. I don't know if she did. She wear this like at
It
an
was
event.
it
It's
was a photo shoot. You know, it was a photo shoot. That's all it was.
like, for who? What? What?
It
Hold
was
on.
on Vogue. It was
Picture.
on Vogue.
Who was it? Kylie Jenner.
Kylie Jenner, Vogue. I would type in Kylie Jenner, Vogue, Afro.
Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at this picture.
Let it rip.
Okay. Firstly, I don't think this is a wig. Second, this does not look like a black afro. This just looks like her curly, fuzzy, teased up hair.
I've heard the
Um,
term teased up. What does that mean for us
so it's
men
like
out
when you
here?
put product in it that allows your hair to like stand up in kind of an unnatural way to like give it fullness and body up top.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
I guarantee you will never, ever, ever see a black woman who walks out of the house with hair like this. You won't.
Okay. So in this instance, you're not as you don't have the
I'm not
same
sold.
feeling.
I'm not
Not
sold. I
okay.
feel like within context, looking at the actual photo, this does not feel like cultural appropriation. I'm looking at a Times article right now where Vogue actually apologized about this photograph because
Exactly.
there was backlash about it. Says Vogue apologizes for putting Kendall Jenner in an afro amidst backlash. I
Talk about it.
See,
Take it out
I
loud.
just okay. This is always the part that messes me up a bit because it's like if you just gonna get mad for the sake of getting mad, like if literally anything this person does ticks you off a little bit, and then you start going to get pissed off at magazines and periodicals, like I do not look at this and automatically say, "Oh my God, she's appropriating my culture because she has
She's
bird
misappropriating
like
my culture.
whatever." I don't think she's appropriating it or misappropriating it in this photograph. This does not look like a black afro. She's
Okay.
not achieved the texture. It's not the right shape. It's not like she's wearing an afro and like cross colors and like big hoop earrings. Like she's not in costume.
Now, would that be okay though?
No, that would absolutely not be okay because in
Even
that
on Halloween, because one of the things that was said was by Megan Kelly, what if you love Diana Ross? You could dress up like Diana Ross without putting on blackface, and everyone
yeah, of
celebrated
course you
that.
can.
But you're saying right now that Kendall Jenner couldn't with this teased up, semi poofy hair that she has.
I do not feel like this teased up poofy hair is meant to or even accidentally meant to look like a black afro.
Okay.
I'm not getting that
Well,
from this photograph.
okay. Well, with the sake of time, can you please type in Kylie Jenner cornrows?
Oh, I've seen these.
Yeah. I want to know what you think as a black woman about this. Is this cultural misappropriation? Is this cultural appropriation? Is this somebody who is not of the culture trying to utilize, and benefit off of the black female hairstyle culture?
Okay. Um a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me, but no,
Oh,
I do not feel like Kylie Jenner's cornrows in and of themselves are cultural appropriation, cultural
why?
misappropriation, whatever you want to call it. It's a hairstyle that she's able to achieve with her own hair or weave or whatever. Now, I would take issue with it if there was any conversation about, oh, she's bringing back this look or she's the first person to do it, or, you know, if she calls these like Kylie Rose or something like that. Like if you're trying to then say,
Like claim it. If she's trying to claim it as her
right, if
own.
you're trying to claim this as like, this is what I do, this is something I created, this is something I came up with, then I take issue with it. But I can't get mad at Kylie Jenner for wearing cornrows when there are women that I, respect and love and appreciate who are out here putting hair that is literally from women of other cultures in their head to make it look like hair that did not grow out of their heads. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna automatically look at Kylie Jenner and be like, oh, I'm pissed that you have cornrows, because then Kylie could look at somebody who looks like me and be like, I'm pissed that your hair is straight and wavy.
Mm. And that's
Like,
my last question for you as we close this out. How do you feel about black women in general who do get weave, who get their hair braided? Not too dissimilar than mine. How do you
yeah,
feel about women who get their hair braided and then get other women's hair or other types of hair put into theirs to have a style?
I don't take any issue with it. I'm one of those women myself. I mean, if you can afford it, you do whatever the hell you want with your hair. I don't care what you do to your
Goddamn.
hair. I don't I don't care. You can wear it natural, put weave, relax it, braid it, do whatever you want to. I feel like as women, our hair is part of our identity, and what you choose to do with it is completely up to you. That's a choice and decision that you make, just like any other adornment or any other style that we outwardly represent.
I'm
You
so
do whatever
glad.
you want with it.
I'm so glad we had a black queen on. In the words of Solange, don't touch my hair. It's your
Yeah.
boy J Lip. I am J Lip. Instagram. Holla at me on Facebook. The Facebook group is growing, and that's where you're gonna find all of the new episodes after episode 100, starting with episode 100. Thinking Out Loud podcast, TOLPcast.com, with my gracious guest in the building, Mrs.LIP. Mrs.LIP, you about to go live in about 10 minutes?
Just about 10 minutes.
All
Join us
right.
in TLYC Makers for an Ask Me Anything.
Facebook,
Yep.
TLYC Makers. If you can't catch it live, please join the group so you can catch it live next time, you bastards. You're late. Get on it.
Okay.
Not your people, my people.
Your
We
people.
got a
Okay.
different audience, okay?
Yes.
So with
Yes.
that being said, we gotta keep it 100. This is Thinking Out Loud. The intro's gonna play one more time. I don't have to sing it no more, and it's a beautiful thing. Baby, I love you.
Love you too.
And we out.
And we back.